wanna hide something from a Christian, hide it in they book. If non-believers know your book better, how that's gonna look. Can't take the heat, get out the kitchen.
So today in your hearing, I will be reading from Mark 10, starting at verse 28. So Peter began to say unto him, to Jesus, he says, Lo, we have left all, and we have followed thee. Now first, Peter says that they left everything to follow Jesus. So if you haven't left everything to follow Jesus, you are not a disciple of Jesus. Because what was the requirement? The requirement is that you had to leave everything. That was the mandate. How many believers today are saying that they follow Jesus and they haven't left everything? So Peter says, we left everything to follow thee. And Jesus answered and said, Verily I say unto you, there is no man, Jesus says there is not one man, one disciple, one believer, one follower that has left house or brethren or sisters or father or mother or wife or children or lands, which would include material things, for my sake in the Gospels, but he shall receive 100-fold now in this lifetime. So I'm going to ask you, when have you, Christian, when have you, Israelite, when have you, Bible believer, follower of Christ, received 100-fold in this lifetime? What have you received in 100-fold for following Jesus? But how can you receive 100-fold of a parent? What will be that? Who can replace your mother? Who can replace your sister, your father, your brother? Your children is irreplaceable. This is the same thing that Satan told God about Job. The only reason you following Job is because he's so blessed. And God told Job, what did he tell him? The same thing Jesus is telling the disciples. Well, look, if you follow me, I'm going to bless you with all of this. Well, hold up, that's the same thing that Satan told Jesus. So Jesus is using the same tactic on the disciples that Satan used on him. What did he say? Satan told Jesus, if you bow down and worship me, I will give you all of this. Didn't he say that? So Jesus is playing the same manipulation, using the same manipulation on the disciples. He says, no man who has left mother, father, sister, brother, etc., right? He says, but you shall receive 100-fold. So did Jesus tell the truth by saying this? When did the disciples receive 100-fold of houses, 100-fold of lands? In this life, in this Bible, when did they receive that? The disciples never received that. Neither have you, Bible believer, follower of Christ, received 100-fold of everything you left to follow Christ. And if you did, if you lie and say you did, then what did you really sacrifice to come to God? What did you really lose? Did Jesus say, what does it profit a man to lose the world? To gain the world and lose his soul. Well, Jesus is saying that you're going to gain everything by following me. So what are you really losing? You see, it's the same manipulation that he's using, but he's flipping it around. So what are you really giving up? What are you really sacrificing? What did Jesus sacrifice by laying down his life if he picked it right back up in a couple of days? What did you really lose? What is it really costing you? If Jesus is telling you to count the cost to be his disciple, what is that cost? If he's telling you he's going to give you 100-fold blessing, that sounds like the preachers today. That sounds like the preachers today telling you you're going to get 100-fold blessing if you just put in $100. If you put in $10, that you're gonna get 100-fold. That sounds like the same thing that they're telling their congregation, but the congregation is not seeing that. So the preachers are lying, and clearly Jesus lied.
You believe what you can show, or just believe from what you know? What make a book holy if God never wrote it? Imagine God was just misquoted. If God was